just could not share this insight with you. Hello my dear friends, everyone who is watching this channel. My name is Jane. In this channel we speak a lot about self-development, understanding the self, how you can change your life, become the most magnetic and happiest woman. We will be speaking about psychological topic, as I deeply love psychology and I've been studying psychology for the last 8 years, I could say even 10 years. And yesterday I got this strong insight about something very important, about the information that can really change your life. We will be speaking about the triangle of Karpman, the drama triangle, how they call it in English. In Russian we have different name for that. This triangle is about victim, rescuer and persecutor, and how these roles, playing these roles in your life, can really make you stagnate, can really bring you to the very low vibration, and overall not allow you to come to the new level. Because in this channel I always love to discuss with you how you can quantum leap. How can you change your reality in different areas of your life? In your career, in your money, in your relationships. That's what I was always curious about. And as I always say, I've been always manifesting my dreams into life by working with my mind and by working with my state of being, which was in future influencing my actions and my reality. And yesterday I got this insight about the program of a victim, and in my channel I always speak about the creator mindset, the state of being where you are the creator of your life, and only in that state you can truly quantum leap, you can truly manifest your dreams, your desires. Because when you are in the victim position, in the victim mentality, you are occupying the position of a child, and you simply do not have the resource, do not have the right energy, the right vibration to move forward. I was inspired to make this video because I had a conversation with my dearest friend. And recently, as I was sharing with you in my previous videos, I became very cautious of my communication, of people that I'm friends with, because some communication became toxic for me, and I realized that it brings me down. It doesn't help me grow, but instead it brings me down. And when I started analyzing what's happening there, what is the root, what is the core of this unhealthy communication, and the answer was the triangle of Karpman, which I want to explain, share with you here today. Of course, I always have a plan. I wrote it here, but I want to improvise, and I want it to be the flow. Whatever needs to be said through me, I allow it. The victim mentality, the victim, the rescuer, and the persecutor. These three roles is a cycle which we enter once we start feeding this game, once we start playing those roles and those games. When we are in the position of a victim, it means that soon we will slide in the position of the rescuer and in the position of persecutor. For so many years, I had this triangle happening in my relationships with different people, with my father, with some of my girlfriends, even with my ex-boyfriends. And I couldn't understand why some moments we are communicating, and this communication is so empowering, is so inspirational, motivational, and some communication simply brings me down. And then I realized that we simply enter those roles. Either I am occupying the position of a victim and my friend, my boyfriend, my family member is the persecutor or savior, or vice versa. And a little bit description of each position. When you are in the position of a victim, you, as I said, as I always say, you occupy a position of a child. And in the position of a victim, you simply believe that you don't have the power, that life, other people are responsible for things that are happening in your life, and you are basically powerless. And victim usually blames everyone for her problems, and she cannot do the move because she believes that it's not in her power. And usually when you occupy this position, you cannot manifest your dreams, you cannot manifest your desires, you cannot build successful business or enter healthy relationships, because you're simply the child who needs a parent, who needs someone who will save you. And honestly, I was staying in that position for a long time, and I couldn't understand why am I sliding back. But all of those roles happen due to some patterns that we've gained while we were in our childhood. And this is basically the familiar scenarios that we've seen when we were kids, maybe from our parents or from people who were raising you. And then you kind of repeat that, because familiar, from the word family. And for many years I couldn't understand how to exit this program, the program of a victim, because it was stopping me from moving forward, from living my dream life, which I live already in the last 2 years. I thought that I am powerless. I thought that it's life to blame for. It's other people, it's circumstances, but it's not me. It's not my actions. It's not my thoughts. But the truth is that it's all in your hands. And now the position of a savior, it's another destructive role, which always occurs when you're in this triangle. So if you have a tendency to be a victim, you also have a tendency to be in the role of another extreme, which is the savior. And the savior wants to save everyone. She wants to help everyone. And I will always be explaining through my own example. For all my life, I was saving other people. If someone would tell me that he or she is in trouble, I would be the first one running to this person to help. I thought that this is my responsibility to help, and I felt a lot of guilt if I was not helping a person. But at some point, I realized that this is such a destructive model, because first of all, I do not allow another person to grow. I intervene into his path, trying to save him and take the responsibility that is not mine. And secondly, I was just killing my own energy, my own vibration. because I was taking so much responsibility of other people on my shoulders. And at the end of the day, I was so tired. I didn't have energy to create. I didn't have energy to build something. I didn't have energy to bloom, to glow as a woman, because I was simply tired. Tired because I was taking other people's burdens, emotions, pain, and I thought that this is my responsibility to save them, not allowing them to live their own path, to go through their own lessons. And also, an interesting fact is that when you are in this position, you are wasting so much of your energy trying to save another person who didn't ask you, instead of creating, building, making your dreams come true. At some point I realized I'm not gonna save again. I'm gonna instead pour this energy into creation, into my business, into maybe my relationships, into myself, my well-being. And this is not from the egotistical point of view. This is from the point of view that if you were not asked to be saved, if you were not asked to give advice, do not do this, because the person didn't ask you for that. You behave from the ego because you want to feed your ego, because you simply want to prove yourself that you are worthy, and you receive this gratification once you saved someone, once this person maybe told you thank you, and you feel that you are so worthy. You become a savior when this boosts your ego. The root to that is that either you feel guilt and you think that this is your responsibility, especially if you are an empath. I am an empath, and I learned a big lesson in my life: not to take responsibility of other people's emotions. Or secondly, you're just trying to feed your ego and feel how amazing you are once you saved someone. It comes from the trauma. And the third role is the persecutor. And this is the person who is basically aggressive, who is rough, and a victim also needs a persecutor, and there needs to be someone who would save them, who would rescue them. At some point, if you're being a victim, there would be a person who would be pissed by your behavior, and this is the role of persecutor, who screams, who is aggressive, who basically feeds the victim, because the victim needs this another side to feel that she is a victim, that there is someone who is responsible for her pain, for her tough life. If you did not recognize this cycle happening in your relationships, you would always slide back there. I don't want to make this video long, but rather very insightful. You need to understand that in order to exit this game, first you need to stop entering it over and over again. Yesterday, I got a message from a very close friend. We have a history together, we love each other, it's just like soulful connection. But at the same time, I spotted the tendency of this victim, persecutor, savior, rescuer communication. And she invited me into the game again by starting being a victim. And I looked at it from the observer position, and I told her that I love you so much and I feel your pain. I empathize with your pain, but I'm not gonna enter this cycle anymore because I don't want to be a rescuer and I don't want to be a victim. Because if you become a rescuer, you will start the cycle over and over again. You can read about it, the triangle of Karpman. So the key here is to spot once someone is inviting you to play the game and decide whether you want to feed this game or you want to step back and come into your creator mode. Realize, and this is the most powerful realization, that you are God, that you are the creator, that you create your reality. And if you want, you can change everything by changing your mind, by working with your mind and by working with your vibrations. And this is so important. What kind of state of being do you possess? Are you living in those self-destructive emotions? Or you are working on yourself, you're doing inner work, you meditate, you do yoga, you practice being in that beautiful, clean, light energy. And of course, we all have crises. Something might happen and you may slide back to the victim. Been there, done that many times. Although I thought, oh, I'm so self-aware, I'm so conscious. But then life was showing me, babe, you need to always keep in mind that things happen and you may slide there, especially if in your childhood it was something normal to be in this kind of relationships. And then you simply observe, and then you simply stop yourself and decide whether you want to enter the game or you want to be the creator. And this is basically the key, how to exit this cycle, to realize that you are the creator, you're not a victim. You can decide and choose your path. This is another level of consciousness, of awareness. And people who achieve great results, who have great relationships with other people in their lives, are people who know about that. You can create your reality. It's in your arms. It's in your mind. It starts with your state of being, with your mind and with your actions. You just need to remember that you are a powerful creator. I always say that. And shift into another state from the victim, where you are tired, exhausted, where you are uninspired, where you feel like the world is against you. Shift into the state where you realize that the reality you desire is possible for you right now. Once you will make a decision to change your mind and your state of being. And on that note, I think I will finish this video. I hope you're feeling inspired by this little insight, but this is massive. This is massive because when you are being in those cycles, this blocks everything in your life. This blocks beautiful relationships. This blocks you from blooming. This blocks you from having good financial results. This blocks you from creating, from expressing yourself, from being successful at your career, because this energy brings you down, makes you very low in your vibration. And this is the most important thing. Your energy, your state of being is the magnet to everything. So you need to make sure that you don't have these cycles in your life, and that you are not playing these roles. You're choosing to be the creator of your life. My dear friends, my beautiful ladies, everyone who is watching this channel, I created a beautiful platform which is called Body, Mind, Divine. And on that platform, you can not only read free articles about our body, mind, and soul, but you can also access my personal products for women, which I created from my own transformation that was happening in the last 10 years. And in those products you can find a beautiful chakra guide where I explain you about every chakra and how balancing every chakra has changed my life. I give the tools and sacred knowledge that may transform you into the Empress. Also, I have a beautiful meditation bundle which holds different types of meditations for different spheres of your life, but mostly it's all centered on your growth as a woman, on your magnetism, on your beautiful energy. And of course, my signature course, Femininity 101, where I share with you the deepest secrets about relationships with men, about masculine and feminine energy, and how you can be this radiating, magnetic, beautiful woman that draws attention of everyone, but most importantly, that is so in her nature, that is so content, that is so aligned with her beautiful femininity and with her life force energy. As a little bonus, as a little present, I created a free guide, numerology guide, that you can download already and you can find on the website, which gives you the access to numerology insights about your partner. You can read about every number and see how you can communicate with your partner better. It is completely free and it is already available on the website. All the details about courses, about websites, I'm gonna leave in the description box for this video, and I invite you to start a beautiful transformation of your life, of your feminine energy, of your relationships, and overall of your soul. Thank you for being here today, and I'm gonna see you in my next video. Bye bye.